I grew up in Miami, Florida, in a neighborhood called Opelika. There's the decent parts of it, and then there's the not so good parts of it. You know, I grew up in a small house. I spent most of my time with my grandmother. You know, it was a rough neighborhood, but my grandmother always steered me in the right direction. I think the competition in Miami is what breeds us. On every single high school or every single little league team, there's 4 or 5 guys who potentially can make it to the NFL. You know, you see kids starting football at the age of like 6. Some of your best friends, you know, are right there with you. Like in my case, Stedman Bailey, who's also a teammate of mine who got drafted, we both attended the same junior high school. We never guessed that we'd end up being at the same high school, setting records there, then go to the same college and set records there, and end up being drafted in the same year. It's almost like a storybook ending for us, but it's only the beginning. We're still best friends. I mean, I think South Florida, you know, has the best talent in the country. You know, we all work hard here. It's kind of a tradition, you know, kind of like in New York and Chicago with the basketball players, and you know, down here we got football. The idea is to get better every single day, you know, even if it's a small amount of improvement, just to get better. Growing up in Miami was tough. You know, you got a lot to deal with. You know, I've seen kids coming up who are better.
Good. But what, you gotta finish it.
More athletic, more gifted, more talented than I was, who didn't make it because of different circumstances. Growing up in poverty, growing up in neighborhoods where, you know, the crime rate was extremely high, where drugs were a part of your daily life. And I mean, there's just so much that you can witness at an early age. You know, I've seen, you know, a number of people be murdered. And it's just, it changed my life to a way that, you know, I cherish life. You know, I cherish people because, you know, you're not gonna be here forever. So I try and cherish every single person that I meet, and I try and take advantage of every single opportunity, every single day that I have, because, you know, you never know when you're, you know, gonna leave this earth. My mom has always played a significant role in my life. You know, she taught me a lot about hard work, and it's really helped me in my development, you know, as a man.
Well, for me, to be honest, and everyone knows it's no secret, I really didn't buy into the sport. It was my brother and his dad, you know, they stayed trying to convince me that, you know, something's gonna happen after this. But it was when I was in the football stands, I actually saw other parents and people come to the games with his name and pictures on their t-shirt. And he's like in 11th grade, and I'm saying, well, what's going on here? I don't think I really realized what was happening, you know, until I got like a heavy dose of, you know, like his fan base, and it started in high school. He probably was in about the 10th grade when the first stack of mail started coming in. It was just, you know, regular mail, just introductions to the colleges. Here we have a mail from Oregon Ducks. We got quite a few from Oregon. We have University of Florida. We have Auburn football, Vanderbilt, West Virginia, USF, LSU. It was so many different colleges that, you know, sent out mail. It kind of was too much to the point where we got a second telephone line because the recruiting calls actually began to interrupt our regular house calls. And, you know, to pick up the phone like every 5 minutes and it's not for you, you know, it was over the top, you know. He had other great things about him, like art and, you know, lots of things that he could have done. But his passion for the game was just so deep, and it, you know, you was able to see it. This picture here was something he did in the 6th grade. This he actually did with a marker and pen. This is not a copy. This is the level of art. You know, he could have been anything else. He was the product of teen parents, you know, but he superseded that. You know, he jumped statistics, you know, and he's done a great job. I see it as him beating the odds. he was just a humble kid. You know, on the field is where you got the action. He was turned up on that field, but when he left the field and the game was over, he humbly walked back into the locker room and get home, play the video game until he fall asleep. And that was every Friday night during football season.
To see my mom, the expression on her face the day I got drafted, just for her, it was almost like her living in a dream, because she knows how hard I work for this. She knows how much I wanted to be a part of the NFL, how much I want to be successful in my career. She's my biggest fan, and she made a lot of sacrifices in order to put me in position to even chase after this dream. So just to see all of it paying off, and her sacrifices didn't go in vain. And just to be able to make her smile again is just a blessing.
He first came on my radar his 8th grade years playing youth football, and I was told that he was coming to Miramar, so I was excited about that. And his first year he played JV against South Broward High School and had a heck of a ball game. And then the following week we moved him up to varsity, and he started ever since.
He always been a hard worker from 9th grade on up. He came here, a small little guy, but he kept working hard, doing what he had to do. You know what I mean? Coach Cardell and all the other coaches out here, and us, me being one of the upperclassmen when he came in, me and Justin Francis, we pushed him to get what, you know what I'm saying, so he could, to get him better, know what a good talent he was. It was probably 2006. He took us to the regional. I was like, man, this kid has something. He has something.
In these neighborhoods down here, football is really what kids see as basically their ticket out. So, you can see guys coming and working hard, and they develop that hard-working mentality from, just being in the neighborhoods and seeing the struggle and not wanting, your family members or your mom, your dad to have to struggle anymore. So you try and use, your gift as your vehicle. And that's what I did, and that's what a lot of these kids are striving to do.
It all started from home. His mom did a great job with Uncle Phoebe and his stepfather, his dad, his coaching staff. Everybody collectively put in some work and molded him to be the young man that he is, even within his church. So he was very active in his church. So with a lot of great people putting in something in that pot, stirring it up, helped Geno to be successful.
Put on.
I try and come out here and give little speeches. I remember when I was in high school, the same coach, Coach Cogdell, had guys coming back speaking to us, and they gave us some good advice and they gave us some good information. So I try and come back and be a resource for these kids. I was once in their shoes. I know what they're going through. I know, what they're trying to achieve. I have little brothers on the team, so I always come out and watch anyways.
Students around school that I never met before even asked me like, oh, you're Geno Smith's brother, like your brother got drafted, and we even had the pictures up in the school, and they be like, oh, now I see the resemblance.
Giante was going through a lot of troubles about, some people always saying comments about Geno Smith, your brother, that's why you this, that's why you that. And I told him, listen, take that as a compliment.
All the time you have people come up to you and ask you questions like, oh, how's your brother doing? And oh, he's gonna start. And even from him going into college, when I was entering high school, I knew what it would take to start and move up on varsity. And now that I know with my last year being a senior, the path that he's opened, I'm gonna make even better strides knowing that, like, what he went through, and I could take that and study from it. Well, he always tells me to always stay humble, and that's the best advice he gave me.
You look at your crop, the crop that you put out, and you see the kids do well academically and also in on the football field. And one thing I preach to my kids, remember, keep your academics first, everything will take care of itself.
Coach Cogdell, man, he did a great job.
We should be walking, we should be walking.
We learned some very good lessons. in high school. You know, he made sure that we grew as men. And, you know, he grew with us. He's still in my life to this day. He's still one of my good friends, and he's, you know, still my coach. I call him for advice, and he's always on call. What's up, Mom?
Hey. Ooh. You got a couple of things to do. You have to get back with your financial advisor and get this budget sheet completed.
See all those numbers, I can't really put them together right now.
I bet you have to give me something.
Who spends $500 on groceries?
You. You ain't gonna buy nothing but a whole bunch of boxes of cereal and milk.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it.
That's true, that's true.
This is Sellers Inc. This is our business consultant office. And I do business for other small businesses. But now my son's business has taken up a huge portion of my time in the last 2 months. I'm very stern, you know, we bark as like business partners. But for the most part, he has a voice. He'll tell you what he wants. You have to be able to listen to see what it is that he needs. Sometimes I listen, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. You know, at home, we're grateful for every opportunity, but once you come over the threshold, in my home, you're just a regular Joe. Socks, dishes, laundry, whatever. You know, most of the time he really doesn't want to sleep at home anymore. You know, he's so grown. So grown.
Can't sleep at home anymore.
Because he doesn't want to respect my 12 a.m. curfew.
Still got curfew.
You know, because I have 2 other boys, and, you know, monkey see, monkey do. You know, he has a huge role to play in his sibling lives. You know, they mimic him. They look at him. They want to be him and better, you know. And he's done a good job at being that leader.
That means I've been doing good.
Yeah, you've been doing good. Now, you know, like tidy sometimes, you know. We still have to pick up behind you, and I still have to get on you.
It's a guy thing. It's a man thing.
I know. Yeah.
My mother was 17 years old when she had me. She used what happened with her being a parent at an early age as a lesson for me. She knows a lot about budgeting. To have a mother who I can trust dealing with that stuff, it just takes a load off of my shoulders because it's my mom, and I know she wants to make sure that, you know, my finances are in order and that I'm living my life in the proper manner. So right now we're here at my grandmother's house. She lived here over 20 years. I spent a lot of my summers and weekends here. My room was actually the one in the back. Her room was the front room. You know, she passed away last year, but you know, I still feel like she's still here with me.
You know, this has always been a place where if you were down, you came here and you were lifted up. And somehow, like right now, when I come, as much as I try to remember all the good stuff, it just brings, you know, so many different types of emotions back for me. You know, so it's just really hard, because we just recently had to close the doors to the place, and it's just tough. She certainly was a very positive influence in helping me be the mother that I am today. I definitely could not have done it without her. No way.
This right here was my first home field. I made this green grass my own. Hasn't been trimmed in a while, as you can see, but I used to come back here with my uncle, just, you know, work out, you know, run the yard, run around here. Used to put this little black thing right here was a basketball hoop, so I just shoot up there and just hit that a couple times. This field right here is, you know, the first one where it all started. To lose her, you know, it hurt me. I spoke at her funeral and I could barely get the words out because she meant so much to me. But, you know, a year and a half later, you know, you can still feel her presence. You know, I still pray and I still kind of talk to her. I kind of think I'm going crazy sometimes because, you know, I'm up there talking to clouds, but at the same time, I know she's listening and I know she's still here with me. Between the ages of 5 to about 10,
Geno would come to this park every afternoon after school. My brother worked here as a park counselor. He started the kids with a flag football.
When I first started playing football, all my uncle said was, hey, you need some cleats. I don't know what cleats is, so I'm going to my mom like, hey, I need some cleats. So she does what moms do best, and she took me to Payless, got me some nice soccer cleats. So obviously, me being a football junkie, I didn't like them. So what I did was I got socks, and she was pissed at me for this. I cut up all my socks, and then I would tape them over my cleats, so I messed up all my good school socks, and I got in some big trouble for it, too. My first game, I think I scored 4 or 5 touchdowns. And from then on, you just see kids were starting to put socks over their cleats, and they started to kind of follow that trend. My uncle, at the age of 9, he was telling me, you're going to be drafted. And he was kind of like a prophet in my life because, it came true. Okay, so right now we're at the house that I grew up in. That window right there was my room. I shared it with my 2 brothers. The cool thing about this house is that the Sun Life Stadium is probably less than a mile away. So, what I would do as a kid, I would always come out here and they'd have games on Sundays. I had a few Super Bowls here. I'd come out and, get to a nice vantage point. I'd get on my mom's van, which would be parked in the driveway. And me and my younger brothers, we watch, the Jumbotron and see everything that went on. So you can see it from here, like a big Jumbotron thing right here. Going back to my neighborhood and just seeing the amount of support that I have, not only at my high school, but just in the city of Miami, it's wonderful. As an athlete, that's all you can ask for. I think everything happens for a reason. And to be here in New York, a huge market, a place that's filled with art galleries, filled with beautiful people, filled with all the things that I'm interested in. It has a tremendous opportunity. It's opened up doors for me, and I look forward to the future because this is only the beginning. Geno, nice to meet y'all.
What Jordan are you into right now?
I see you got the Shadow Ones on. I just got those.
Yeah.
Well, I stay up on my J's, man. I got a nice little collection.
Yeah.
I used to sell shoes myself, so.
Oh, for real?
I got an eBay account. I sell my shoes on eBay.
That's crazy.
That's a job right now, too.
Yeah.
Your kids are doing that. You live in Jersey?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
The wave right
Close by.
there. We wanted to give you this right here.
Oh, man, I appreciate it.
You see that?
Appreciate it. I got
That's
to put this on.
101 in the world right there.
For real. I put it on for you. This might be too big, but all right.
How you go into it?
Gotta grow my hair out. Appreciate y'all, man.
No problem, man.
Appreciate you,
Thanks for
man.
stopping by.
Work. All right, man, we out. When I was in high school, the people that I hung out with weren't necessarily the crowd that I was supposed to hang out with. I hung out with the so-called nerds or the not so cool kids, and I found interest in them because, we were into the same type of things.
This is an installation piece by Ed Templeton, who's out of California. He's big from the skateboard scene. He has this company called Toy Machine.
Wow, that's nice. My football friends were like, why you hang out with those guys? They're this and they're that, and I don't see it that way. I see it as, we're all people, we're all humans here, and they're interested in one thing, and we just happen to have that in common. So I think that was pretty cool, and I think it helped me coming up and going through life because I learned how to interact with all people from all walks of life. The fact that New Yorkers are, very, very opinionated, I mean, that's cool. I'm my hardest critic. No one's ever going to work harder than I am to be, what I think I can potentially be. I've always been taught as long as you continue to walk the straight line, the ups and downs through life, they won't affect you as much.
What's up, man? Hey, what's up, Geno? How you doing, man? What can we do for you today?
Just a brush cut, man.
All right, Geno, I'm taking my best man right here, Jake Quan. He's the man.
How you feeling, man?
Good, man. How are you?
How you feeling now in the new city?
Feel good, man. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Love it.
So how the practices and everything going for you right now?
Been good. Real good. I'm loving the team.
I think the starting job is yours to take. The Jets organization has been really good, but has been up in turmoil in the quarterback scenario for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And you might bring a fresh perspective to that team that they haven't had in a very long time. A mobile quarterback with a good eye on the reception and your need to scramble, right?
I mean, well, the main thing for me is just winning games, man. I can do a number of things on the field, so.
Winning is not something we're going to expect of you. More so it's consistency.
Exactly, consistently winning games. That's important. And I hate to lose, so.
So we all.
I'm trying to win them all.
I was driving to work. I listened to a fan all the time. For 1 hour and a half straight, they talked about you.
Wow.
They were saying the same thing. It's the optimism that you're here. That's the main thing. That's like we have hope now. Just better be ready, because you're getting in.
You're getting in, trust me.
I guarantee you that.
High expectations. I love it.
When you get your chance.
How do you feel the Jets right now, overall? Most people are saying 8-8.
You know what? You don't like to talk about that type of stuff, man. You do it on the field.
That's it. One game at a time.
One game at a time. Yeah. Just step on the field, man. That's all we worry about.
That's it. No talking, just playing.
So right now, who you have more continuity with when you're throwing the ball to? Who you feel when you start throwing the ball to?
All of them. Whoever gets open. No, I don't have those problems. I kind of like to think, just go out there and play football.
You're probably in a scenario right now where the next couple of years, you may not be the go-to guy, but when the job is said and done, you'll be holding the position.
Now we got to get it this year, man. We can't. Got to get on the field.
So give me a run in your mind. You at the 30, second down, third and long. Tell me a moment that when you did that, I'm going pro.
It wasn't one moment.
It was all of it?
Yeah. So I don't think I had a specific moment. I think I just always knew. My passion is building relationships with my teammates, my coaches, and winning games and seeing the smiles on their faces after that. That's my passion, and that's what I do, man. I'm here to play football, and I've done that my entire life. That's the right attitude, and it's just something that has continued to push me in the right direction. My passion is what happens in between those lines.
Thank you. Thank you.
If they don't want your picture, that's you're in trouble.
School or every single little league team, there's 4 or 5 guys who potentially can make it to the NFL. You see kids starting football at the age of like 6. Some of your best friends, are right there with you. Like in my case, Stedman Bailey, who's also a teammate of mine who got drafted, we both attended the same junior high school. We never guessed that we'd end up being at the same high school, setting records there, then go to the same college and set records there, and end up being drafted in the same year. It's almost like a storybook ending for us, but it's only the beginning. We're still best friends. I mean, I think South Florida, has the best talent in the country. I grew up in Miami, Florida, in a neighborhood called Opelika. There's the decent parts of it, and then there's the not so good parts of it. You know, I grew up in a small house. I spent most of my time with my grandmother. You know, it was a rough neighborhood, but my grandmother always steered me in the right direction. I think the competition in Miami is what breeds us. On every single high, more athletic, more gifted, more talented than I was, who didn't make it because of different circumstances. Growing up in poverty, growing up in neighborhoods where, you know, the crime rate was extremely high, where drugs were a part of your daily life, and I mean, there's just so much that you can witness at an early age. You know, I've seen, you know, a number of people be murdered, and it's just it changed my life to a way that, you know, I cherish life. You know, I cherish people because, you know, you're not going to be here forever. So I try and cherish every single person that I meet, and I try and take advantage of every single opportunity, every single day that I have, because you never know when you're going to leave this earth.
You know, we all work hard here. It's kind of a tradition, you know, kind of like in New York and Chicago with the basketball players, and you know, down here we got football. The idea is to get better every single day. You know, even if it's a small amount of improvement, just to get better.
Growing up in Miami was tough. You know, you got a lot to deal with. You know, I've seen kids coming up who are better.
Good. But what, you gotta finish it.
My mom has always played a significant role in my life. You know, she taught me a lot about hard work, and it's really helped me in my development, you know, as a man.
Well, for me, to be honest, and everyone knows it's no secret, I really didn't buy into the sport. It was my brother and his dad, you know, they stayed trying to convince me that, you know, something's